Welcome to the Mind Vault. If you've ever wondered why you do what you do, this channel is for you. We unlock the psychology behind your patterns, habits, and thoughts.
You ever feel like you're playing a game but nobody gave you the rulebook? That's kind of the feeling for so many of us these days. So in this explainer, we're going on a quest for that instruction manual. We're going to pull from neuroscience, ancient philosophy, and some of the sharpest modern thinkers to build a real guide for finding meaning in these, well, pretty chaotic times. And this is where the philosopher Alan Watts he nails it. He points out this huge trap we all fall into. We think of life like a journey with a finish line, graduation, the dream job, retirement. But he says we miss the whole point along the way. We're so focused on the destination that we completely forget to actually enjoy the music while it's playing. This one idea, it challenges everything we think we know about having a purpose. All right, so first things first, we've got to diagnose the problem, right? Why do so many of us feel kind of lost? We're living in what a lot of people are calling an age of anxiety. It's this time defined by a really widespread sense of cynicism and this search for a purpose that always feels just out of reach. And this brings us to what author Simon Sinek talks about. He says we've basically become masters of illusion. We live these two separate lives. There's the polished, perfect version of ourselves we put online, and then there's our inner reality, which, for a lot of us, is filled with doubt and anxiety. And this huge gap between the person we pretend to be and the person we actually are, that's a massive source of our modern unhappiness. This right here, this is the great paradox of our time. We've made unbelievable progress, stuff our ancestors couldn't even dream of. And yet, so many of us just feel empty. It's like we climbed the very top of the mountain and found out there's nothing to see. The old stories that used to give life meaning, they've kind of faded away. And now there's this void. The real challenge for our generation is figuring out how to find a reason to keep climbing when the summit itself feels meaningless. So, okay, if the problem is this emptiness inside, well, the solution can't be something you go out and find or buy, right? The search has to turn inward. The whole point isn't to find some treasure chest out there in the world. It's to forge that treasure inside of ourselves. And nobody captures this idea better than Paulo Coelho in his masterpiece, The Alchemist. The reward for all the hero's hard work, it's not the stuff he gets in the end. It's who he becomes because of it. The real treasure is the transformation that the journey forces you to go through. This is the central lesson, right here. The hero in the story travels across entire deserts. He faces death. He loses everything, only to discover that the treasure he was looking for was buried back at home the whole time. So you have to ask, why the journey? Because without that journey, he would never have become the person with the wisdom and the courage and the character to even be worthy of that treasure. The journey itself is what made him the hero. Okay, so let's get to our own personal training montage. If we're going to be the hero of our own story, we have to start forging the right tools. And that starts with our own biology and our own mind. And we can start by literally taking control of our own brain chemistry. The neurobiologist Andrew Huberman gives us this super simple but powerful morning routine. First, get some sunlight in your eyes as soon as you can. It sets a healthy cortisol rhythm for the whole day. Next, wait 60 to 90 minutes before you have that first coffee. This lets your body clear out the sleepiness chemicals naturally, so you don't get that awful afternoon crash. And finally, a blast of cold, like a cold shower, releases adrenaline and dopamine, putting you in a state of calm focus that can carry you through the day. And this idea of control, it absolutely extends to our sleep. Sleep expert Matt Walker makes perfect sleep seem way less mysterious by breaking it down into 4 simple things. We obsess over how much sleep we get and the quality of it, but he argues the single most powerful one, the one we usually ignore, is regularity. Just going to bed and waking up at the same time, yep, even on weekends, is the real secret to mastering your rest. So once we've got our biology dialed in, we can look to some really ancient wisdom for hacking the mind itself. The legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi had this concept called mushin, which means mind without mind. It's this state of pure, effortless focus where you're free from all that distracting chatter, from your ego, from your fears. It's how a warrior, or really any of us, can act perfectly with total clarity even when the pressure's on.
And this Mushin idea, it's not just some cool-sounding philosophy. It's literally applied neuroscience. The guiding principle is simple. Nerve cells that fire together wire together. As Dr. Joe Dispenza explains, every single time you consciously choose a different thought, a different feeling, a different action, you are physically rewiring your brain. You can literally break the habit of being your old self and build a new mind from the ground up.
All right, we've got our toolkit, we're feeling good, but now the journey takes a turn. We're heading into deeper, more mysterious territory. This is the part of the quest, the ordeal, that's going to challenge our most basic ideas about what reality and consciousness even are.
Okay, think about this. We're all taught that your mind, your consciousness, everything that makes you you, is locked up inside your skull. It's just a bunch of firing neurons in your brain. But biologist Rupert Sheldrake asks this really radical question that kind of shakes that whole foundation. What if your mind isn't just in your brain?
So Sheldrake talks about two ways to think about seeing. The standard view, the one we all learn, is called intromission. Light comes in through your eyes and an image gets built inside your head. Simple enough. But there's this ancient theory called extramission, which suggests something else is happening too. It says your consciousness also projects out. So when you look at a star in the night sky, your mind is literally reaching out across all that space to touch it. It means our minds might not just be passive cameras, they might actually extend way beyond our physical bodies.
And this leads to another really provocative question, one that Joe Rogan brings up. He speculates, what if our modern sense of disconnection, our feeling of being cut off, comes from the fact that we severed our ties with ancient tools for exploring consciousness? For thousands of years, cultures used things like psychedelics to understand the mind. By getting rid of them, did we accidentally lock ourselves out of a fundamental part of what it means to be human? All of this builds to a possibility that is, well, it's totally mind-bending. You know those beautiful, infinitely complex patterns you see in a mathematical fractal? What if the patterns of our own consciousness work on that same principle? What if they're echoing the geometric structure of the entire cosmos? It suggests this deep, profound unity, that your thoughts and the stars aren't really separate things. You're not just some tiny speck in the universe. You are a piece of the universe that's becoming aware of itself. So after this whole journey, after being transformed by this inward and outward quest, the hero has to come back. And in this story, the hero, that's all of us. It's humanity. And we have to return to the world and face one last collective test. We have this elixir, this new understanding. But the real question is, what are we going to do with it? Thousands of years ago, the ancient Greek historian Polybius saw this predictable cycle that civilizations just seem to follow over and over again. It starts with a good king, a monarchy, that decays into a corrupt tyrant. So the best people overthrow him and create an aristocracy, which then decays into a corrupt rule by the few. So the people rise up and create a democracy, which eventually just falls apart into chaos and anarchy. And at that point, a new strong leader rises, and the whole cycle just starts over. The huge question for us is, are we doomed to just repeat that pattern forever? Or can our generation be the one to finally break the cycle? And that cycle, it puts us, our generation, at this massive fork in the road. There are two paths in front of us. One path, the one thinkers like Tristan Harris warn us about, is a dystopia. It's a future of unchecked AI leading to more chaos and the loss of human agency. The other path, the one envisioned by people like Randall Carlson, is a cosmic one, where we take all our knowledge and build a new type of civilization among the stars, fulfilling what he sees as a kind of ancient destiny. But here's the thing. Neither of those futures has to happen. That's the ultimate elixir we brought back from the quest, a reminder from thinkers like Graham Hancock. The story isn't finished yet. We are the authors. The future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we are actively creating with every choice we make. We are the ones holding the pen. So it all comes down to this one single question. The journey to find meaning, it was never just about finding your own personal peace. It was about preparing you to find your role in this huge, epic, ongoing story. The great work of humanity is happening right now. What part are you going to play?
If this opened your eyes, imagine what else is hiding in your mind. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly episodes that decode your brain, one pattern at a time. And if something clicked today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay curious.